At Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Central Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 501-244-3667, or visit our website at directserviceoverhead.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.
All right. Disappointing second half for the Razorbacks. 3-2-1. Oh boy. Yo, what's going on? Welcome. Arkansas finds a way to once again lose a game in the second half. They get absolutely lost in the second half. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this team in the second half. I don't know. I don't know why they fail to make proper adjustments in the second half. I don't know why they struggle to overcome the opponents, no matter who it is. Hell, it could be Fayetteville High School. It could be Ramey Junior High. If they click the right buttons, you could beat Arkansas in the second half. I don't understand it. They blew a 15-point lead yesterday. They blew a 13-point lead today. Probably should have lost yesterday had Auburn made that shot there at the end. They're not advancing in the tournament. They're not advancing in the tournament. They're not. Guys, they're not a good basketball team. They're not a good basketball team. I don't understand how this team is so bad in the second half. I don't get it. Like all of the accolades, all the McDonald's All-Americans, everything that they have on this roster, and they can't put away. I get it. A&M's a good basketball team. I completely get that. I get it, man. They're good. Buzz Williams is one of my favorite coaches. I like that guy. Arguably one of the top 4 coaches in the SEC. He does more with less. Can you imagine him with better talent? He's not ever had it at A&M because they just don't. They don't have that kind of talent at A&M, and yet he owns Eric Musselman in the Arkansas Razorbacks. Yeah, I'm frustrated, man. I'm so frustrated. I'm done picking Arkansas because I feel like I curse them when I do. Have I gotten one right? When's the last time when I picked them to win they actually won the damn game? What, like maybe Georgia? Was that Georgia? I don't know. This team is very frustrating. You can't I get it. Someone's going to say, well, you can't let a bunch of kids. Listen, man, we're all invested in this one way or another. I enjoy doing these post-game shows. I was hoping to do at least one more. Oh, well, whatever. But you can't help but get a little bit frustrated with all of that raw talent on the floor, and they just can't figure it out. We've gone over and over and over Brazil. I get it, man. Brazil, they've never overcome Brazil's injury. They never have. Brazil was something else. None of Arkansas's quote-unquote bigs could come off the bench and get 20 points, 7, 8 rebounds, 9 rebounds. Could stretch the floor like he could. He was big time. I get it, man. But you still have more than enough talent to take care of teams like A&M. They're a good team. You should be in that conversation too, but guess what? You're not. You're not in that conversation in the SEC. When you think of proven on-the-floor teams, you're not in that conversation. Now, you are in the conversation when they talk about teams going to the tournament. You're there. You're in the conversation because you're going to the damn tournament because the net rankings love you. I just want to know. I don't see them. I don't see them advancing. I don't see the Razorbacks advancing at all. The most frustrating team in the second half I think I have ever seen at Arkansas. No wonder why they finished. Listen, guys, eventually a spade is a spade, right? You call what you see, and you finish sub 500 in conference play. You had some losses that are just mind-boggling, this year. And then you had some wins this year that were also somewhat like just what the hell happened. Winning at Kentucky was huge. Playing as well as they did, even though it was a loss against Alabama on the road. You had some moral victories, but who gives a shit about moral victories, man, if you can't win these games? A&M is a better team than Arkansas. Again, like I said, a spade is a spade is a spade. That's what this is. They're not a good – I don't think Arkansas is a good basketball team. I'll say this. If they do get past the first round, I won't be shocked. But if they go any further than that, because matchups do matter. But maybe I don't know. I'm you just don't know what team's going to show up. And inconsistent teams, especially when they're inconsistent in the second half of the month of February leading into March, they don't typically advance in the NCAA tournament. So I don't know. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. This is the angriest I've been in a while. I am angry. It's frustrating. I hate it too for fans who, the more than casual fans who love this team and love Eric Musselman. And look, you need to keep supporting them, even if you're a casual. But I hate it for those people who really, they never let go of the rope. They stick with this team, and they're still going to. And guess what? They're going to argue with me. I'm going to get someone in my DMs. Someone's going to bitch at me on Facebook. Someone's going to send me some hateful, I don't know, I'm sure I'm going to have one of my friends text me. Look, I get it, man, but I hate it for you guys. I hate it for you guys because I think you're going to be let down in the NCAA tournament. I'm not putting this on any one thing. I'm not putting it on Musselman. Musselman does not need to be on any hot seat. That is the dumbest argument I've ever heard. Musselman, my Lord, man, back-to-back Elite Eights. The guy knows what he's doing this year. I guess you're just not going to go after as many freshmen. You're not going to hit up, how many did they sign? They're not going to sign near what they did last year. They're not going to do that again. It's going to be mostly transfers. And I think he's learning that the hard way. And honestly, I'm a little bit surprised with his G League background and his NBA background. Why? You're not going to pass up Nick Smith, Walsh, and Anthony Black. You're not going to pass those guys up. Maybe you could have saved a couple spots for those freshmen that are riding the bench for maybe another transfer that can, I don't know, shoot well at the free throw line, can be a pure scorer, can play a little bit better both ways on both ends of the floor. I don't know. Shout out to the sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Do I have fatigue? I do this week. I have busted my ass this week. I've got a little bit of fatigue. I'm frustrated. I got hit today at football practice. I did. True story. And I really wish I could see that film. I got hit. Play came my direction. And I got hit pretty good. I'm kind of feeling it. I'm not hurt at all. I got scraped up. That was it. Not in the best of moods. This game did not help anything. Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Same-day services, emergency service, 24/7, 365. Quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results. Give them a call today at 501-244-3667. Free estimates, can't pass that up. They just worked on my neighbor's garage door, and my neighbor could not. Alex, I say my neighbor. You guys know who he is. Alex just was really happy with the service. Apex Tattoo Studio. Call today. Get set up for some ink. Walk-ins are welcome, but if you want to call and set up an appointment, 479-278-2694. Tap-out sessions are available. They're offering discounts for up to 10% off. I haven't read a single comment yet because I don't want to get into it with anybody right now. I'm almost – this is probably the angriest I've been since football. This team has been frustrating. It's so strange. It's so weird that they're as bad as they are in terms of when you consider the talent they have. This is not a good basketball team. They made the NCAA tournament, but here's the thing. Average teams make the tournament all the time. How many teams get into this tournament? You're going to tell me they're all great? No. Some of them just got hot at the right time, finished off the season really well, got a couple of maybe a couple quad one wins late, bumped up a little bit. Odd Soul sponsor, our last sponsor here, Craft Bar Pizzaria, located on Emma Street here in Springdale. Great stuff, great atmosphere, great staff. Nick, the owner, good guy, and boy, they kill it over there at the Odd Soul. Wonderful pies, good stuff on tap. Like I said, IPAs are wonderful. Do I want to read chat? I don't know if I even want to read chat. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. We lost tonight because of inconsistent play. I mean, that's the story every game. That's the story every game. These guys do not know how to close out games. They don't know how to close out games. They're too young, too many freshmen. They don't know how. I mean, too many careless turnovers. Like said earlier in chat, defensive adjustments were elite. A&M have won games all year, upsetting ball handlers and winning at the free throw. Right, JT. I don't know if you come to many of these live shows. I talk about often how A&M they're the best at getting to the free throw line. They can be frustrating. They can limit you on the offensive end of the floor. I get that, man. But let's not sit here and act like you don't have 2 lottery picks on your roster right now. Possibly 3 first-round draft picks, according to NBA. According to, I think it was Bleacher Report. We read that article earlier. RC, Ricky Council's looked at as a back-end first-round draft pick. Let's not sit here and act like you don't have better talent. To be shut down that way in the second half is abysmal. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for Arkansas's inability. There's no excuse for these scoring droughts, 3+ minute scoring droughts, getting outscored as badly as they do in the second half, as often as they do. There's no excuse for it, man. When you have the kind of talent in the staff that you have, and Eric Musselman, like all these things just amount to nothing when there's no real cohesiveness. A&M picked it up defensively in the second half. I'm not sitting here telling you it had nothing to do with A&M. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. They don't know how to win games. They don't know how to do it. OKC Hog says, thank God for Razorback baseball. Yeah, right. So far in the tournament, a team that knows how to win games, Alabama beat Mississippi State 72-49. Missouri beat Tennessee by 8 points, 79-71. You got Vanderbilt and Kentucky coming up next. It's been easy to see all year, no consistency, says 360 STS. Yep. What did Shaheed say? You guys are saying exactly. What did he say? When the refs call 5 fouls in a row, that just kills momentum. Yeah, they actually called it was 6-0 foul ratio in the second half, and then I think eventually it went to 7. I think it was 8-3 or 8-2 foul ratio. Again, I'm not putting it all 100% on Musselman or these players. I'm not putting it all on anybody. But again, at the end of the day, you can only control you, right? And let's not act like all those fouls were nonsense, because they weren't. The fall of Arkansas from last year to this year, football went January 1st Bowl, 7-6 Liberty Bowl, went from Elite 8 to likely first-round exit. Please let us keep baseball going. Ty, we still love you, dude. I appreciate that, Hero Blake. Thank you. Don't recruit any freshmen or transfers that can't shoot a 3 or jump shot, free throw, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, no, I agree. What seed will they be? I don't know. I'm not in the mood to guess seeding right now. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, the net ranking is going to do its thing. It'll probably keep you in the conversation as a top 8 seed, maybe. Do they belong there? No, they don't. I mean, really, I don't know. I wrestle with the idea of whether or not they belong in the NCAA tournament or not. Like I've said before, I'm not going to argue against anybody who says they don't belong. I'm not. You've seen this team. You know what's coming in the final 5 minutes. If they're trailing by single digits, or if they have a small lead, you know what's going to happen. They're going to find a way to screw it up and lose the game. That's what's going to happen. It's just, you know what's coming. And again, it is their youth. I think it is their youth. Absolutely. Tercer says, agreed, we don't belong. Why not use more of the bench? Black is betting money on these games. Oh, come on. How else can you explain the turnovers? Come on now. Adam, that's going to require some significant evidence, my friend. This goes back to when Muss said he's never coached a team this young. Yeah, and he also said he said earlier this year, if you listen to the things that he said in either post game or whatever, you could tell he's frustrated with this team. And I think this is probably the most frustrating team he's ever coached, at least at the college level. At the college level, this is probably the most frustrating team he has ever coached. And it's frustrating to cover, man. It's frustrating to watch. Maybe we got the NIT and well, no, you're in the tournament. I mean, there's no questioning you're in the NCAA tournament. Give Vandy our spot. They deserve it more. They do. I don't know that I'm going to argue with that either. I think that's probably true. Muss warned us beforehand. Should have known back in October. LOL. Yeah. Well, no. I think they felt pretty good until things got serious with the injuries. I think that's when you could tell something just was not. This team just could not find itself. Looking at these numbers, let's go over the numbers. As much as I don't want to. Yeah, you drop at 67-61. Nick Smith Jr. with 16 points, turned the ball over 5 times tonight, but he did have 4 assists and a rebound. 5 turnovers is just not. I mean, come on, man. Your combo guard and your point guard cannot be turning the ball over as often as they do. Now, Anthony, what does he average? 3-4 turnovers a game? What's he averaged in February? Going into March, it feels like it's like 5. But he only had 2 tonight. He didn't turn it over a ton. A little shocked that Devo ended up with just 5 points. Walsh with 7 off the bench. Council with 5. Arkansas shot just 40% in the first half. I think they ended the first half something like 62%. I mean, there's a theme here, man. I mean, we see them do this in the second half every once in a while where they just go berserk. But that's so rare that happens. They shot, 70% not long ago? I mean, who was that against? Was that Georgia, Ole Miss, someone? I mean, they shot, it was just ridiculous. Or Florida, maybe? Shot 60-something% in the first half of this one. They end up just 40%, 22 of 54, 5 of 20. Far too many threes, but A&M's adjustments in the second half forced Arkansas to settle for longer shots. I mean, that's the adjustment against Arkansas. Just force them to shoot. You'll be fine. Just force them to shoot. You'll be fine. You know, Nick Smith's mid-range shots, I mean, he couldn't get much to go down. I mean, he 6 of 20. He was 6 of 20 tonight. Listen, he still had 16 points. That's not horrible, but it's not exactly great. 2 of 6 outside. He was on fire to start this game, and it kind of felt like it was just going to be the Nick Smith show. The way he started, I thought he was going to end up with 25, 30 points. And second half, he was far less effective. They did a good job. They figured out how to slow him down, get him in a little bit of trouble. He turned the ball over 5 times. Arkansas turned the ball over just 20 compared to 19 last night. A&M turned it over 15 times. You had 11 blocks in this game. 11 blocks in this game tonight. You got beat on the boards. You got creamed on the boards. 26 total rebounds to their 43. They had 8 assists to your 11. Well, yeah, I mean, 63% from the free throw line, 12 and 19. Shocker. Nobody's surprised by that. What did A&M do? 42%, similar field goal percentage. 10% outside. Okay, not surprised there. 75%. 75%. At the free throw line, 18 to 24. They got 5 more shots. They made 6 more shots. And you lost by 6 points. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm happy they weren't one and done. I mean, we could say that. I'm happy they weren't one and done. Carpenter says we suck. I mean, they're not a good basketball team. They're not. I mean, they're capable of being great. They're capable of being great. We know they are. We've seen flashes of it. We've just never – you can count on one hand the amount of times they played like they did in the first half in 2 whole halves at a game. You can count on one hand. I don't know. It's pitiful, man. It's just it's kind of amazing when you look like how did they get 20 wins? How did they do it? Wasn't in conference play. Ty, I'm so angry. I just punched my TV and broke my hand. I hope not. I'm sure you're clowning, but I hope not. My mic is way too hot. There we go. Let's turn the mic down. Graham never shoots when he's wide open. Yeah, I think he wants to be closer to the rim. Ty is talking crazy tonight. Where's level-headed, logical Ty? What's so crazy about what I just said? I mean, what's crazy? Tell me. What's crazy about what I've said tonight? You tell me. I mean, listen, I will take back that they're automatically not advancing. Okay, maybe that's the most illogical thing that I've said because we don't know the matchup yet. We don't know where they're seated at. I'll concede to that. But what else have I said? Do you see them? I mean, really, wherever they go as far as seeding, it's really hard for me to fathom that they could put together 2 good games. They don't have to play great. They don't have to play great. They just got to put together 2 good games. Do you see them doing that? Have they done that much at all this year? Now, they had a short stretch before Nick Smith's return where they kind of got things figured out. They started to play better ball. But since then, since Nick Smith's return, when it's really mattered, have you seen them put together 2 good basketball games and win those games? 2 complete games. Again, you tell me what's so illogical about what I've said, right? And I know you're not taking a shot at me. I know you're kind of clowning. I get it. But I don't think there's anything illogical about what I've said. Now, again, I'll take back what I said about first-round elimination. I would, even not knowing the seeding yet, I think I would probably – I'm almost tempted to just say that no matter what, they're not gonna get past the first round. I don't know, man. You guys tell me, is anything else outside the first round comment, is there anything else that I've said that's illogical? Because I don't think so. I think what I've said is actually grounded in quite a bit of truth. They're just not – they just – in order for me to call you a good basketball team, there has to be consistency there, right? They've not been consistent at anything this year. They've not been consistent at anything. Blocks. All right, cool. Cool. You get a shit ton of blocks. What has that done for you this year? Right? 3-point defense is pretty damn good. All right. Okay. What has that done for them? Teams have figured out how to beat the Razorbacks with these second-half adjustments. Arkansas just struggles to overcome those second-half adjustments. I don't think it's Muss getting out-coached. I think it's just it's either a lack of execution. It might be matchup issues. I don't know. They've been consistent in blowing leads, says Ash. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I would say they haven't had 2 complete games this year. Complete games. This is Ryan Higginbotham. Nick Smith Jr. does make them better, but we still can't score well enough from the perimeter. No. Devo really struggled tonight, which was surprising. 1 of 5 tonight. I mean, he made 1. But 5 of 20 overall. It certainly looked like in the first half this team they were gonna rain down threes and they couldn't do it. 5 of 20 is abysmal, man. I mean, that's 25%. That's horrible. 12 pins. Excuse me. Swallow my spit here. 12 points off the bench tonight. Walsh had 7. 6 rebounds between him and Council. Council didn't have it tonight. He was 0 for 3 outside, 1 of 7 from the floor. Just 5 points for Council. If Nick Smith is limited, and I would say tonight in the second half he was limited mostly, if no one else steps up, if a Ricky Council doesn't step up, if Anthony Black doesn't step up, Devo, and these guys, they didn't step up, you're going to lose the game. Now, there's a lot of teams you could say, well, yeah, you lock down their best guy, they're probably going to lose, right? But Again, talking about Arkansas's talent, you just don't expect that to be the issue. But the struggles this team has had to put together a solid offensive game in two halves, it's not been good. It's not consistent. That's why I don't think they're a good basketball team. They're good enough to get to the tournament. Maybe they're average, right? They're an average team. And their ceiling, I think, is high. Their ceiling is really high. We just haven't seen them do it. And I'm just listen, this goes back to when Arkansas secondary, talking football really quick, when we saw wide receivers running wide open downfield, Otis Kirk and Dudley Dawson and myself up in the media box all looked at each other and said, they've got a problem in the secondary. I said that on this postgame show, and people told me I was overreacting. It's too soon to say that. What happened? You finished bottom 5 in the country. Eventually, these things aren't a coincidence. It just is what it is. And it is what they are. I think they are an average team, borderline not very good team, okay? With a really high ceiling. When you look at Muss's resume, right, as a head coach in college basketball, coming to Arkansas, again, we know the story, back-to-back, Elite Eight, so on and so forth. With the talent combined with having guys like Devo back, upperclassmen in Kamani, who's been around, who knows what to do, who you would expect to be kind of the leader between him and Devo, the guys that have been there. With someone like Ricky Council, I mean, you never know what you're getting out of Ricky either. Ricky, you talk about an enigma. I mean, that's what's so frustrating is it wouldn't be as bad if this team just didn't have the talent, right? We would accept it. We would understand it. If Musselman hadn't really put anything together the last couple of years, we could kind of connect the dots and just understand it and accept it. What's so difficult to accept is we know what Musselman can do. We know they've got, they're loaded to the brim with talent. We know that, when they gel, this team is capable of doing some serious damage in this conference, and they didn't. They fell short time and time and time again. Blowing leads, crumbling in the final 4.5, 5 minutes, inconsistent play, mostly on offense. Easy buckets down around the rim. I mean, we've seen that really become more of a thing lately in the second half of February and on, where it's just gotten too easy for teams around the iron to score points down in the paint. I mean, the Mitchell twins are supposed to help stop that, and at times that just doesn't seem to be the case. You could talk about the 6 blocks between the two of them. We've also seen them get a few blocks and still give up easy points down in the paint. And listen, I'm not hating on them. I mean, my God, they scored 19 points. They had 6 blocks. They had 8 rebounds between the two of them, 4 with Mackay alone. Arkansas ends the night with 8 offensive rebounds. A&M had 17. 17 offensive rebounds. Again, 30 or 43 total rebounds to your 26. You got dominated. Arkansas got flat out dominated on the boards, man. Johnson sat on the bench the whole game. Why? Ricky was non-existent? No. What is the definition of talent? I'm tired of hearing how talented we are, especially when it doesn't equate to wins. Come on, man. I mean, Jacob, you've watched sports. I mean, you could argue there's a difference between developed talent, right? Like a good cohesive team, whether it's football or basketball or even baseball, but you can't deny these guys were highly touted. Everyone gave them offers. McDonald's All-Americans, the accolades, okay? That is talent. You have 2 lottery picks. The NBA thinks they're talented. Just about every article you're going to read on the mock draft, I guarantee you the majority of them have at least 2 lottery picks on this team. At least 2. At least 2 first rounders, and several of them have you with 3 first rounders. That's what potential talent, right? Now they're going to look at it as a potential, and that's perfectly understandable, but there is such a thing as having this kind of talent and still not having team chemistry. You can have all the talent in the world, man. Just ask Florida. Ask Auburn over the years, when you're talking football. Basketball, you can say the same thing. I mean, hell, South Carolina had a lottery pick. He's dropped a little bit, but that doesn't mean shit. You've got to have a good product on the floor, and they just are not a good product. It's the product that matters. Drew Sanders, probably a first-round draft pick off this Razorback defense. One of the worst defenses in the SEC. You see what I'm saying? I mean, you can have all the talent in the world. If you can't put it together on the floor, if you can't put a good product on the floor, it doesn't mean shit. And that is exactly what has happened with this team this year. Now, I'm not completely giving up on them because, like I said, I think their potential's through the roof. I'm going to be shocked if they can get past the second round. I think depending on the matchup, they could. I mean, with Musselman's history, with his experience, with everything he has behind him, with a very good staff. We know they can game plan. These guys know what to expect from Muss. He knows what to expect from his players and his staff. Like I think they could put something together. They're going to get a little bit of time to rest. They're going to get an early exit. I'd really hate losing to A&M in the SEC tournament. I hate that Arkansas dropped 2 out of the 3. Not happy. I'm sick of the second half performance by the Razorbacks this year. It's just it sucks the fun out of the room, man. I mean, it just does. And you got to give credit to A&M. Like I said, Buzz Williams is one of my favorite coaches. I mean, that guy does more with less. I could not imagine, if anything, Kentucky needs to go after him. They need to go after Buzz, if you want my opinion. And look, I wouldn't – they would. I mean, Musselman's a hell of a coach. Musselman's gone further. Musselman has the better accolades, right? But when you talk about a guy doing more with less, being as good as this team has been, especially in February and March these last couple of years, talking about Buzz – we'll see what they can do in the tournament. I don't know. They might be an early exit. They're not overly impressive. I mean, you saw what happened in the first half. Now, again, there's a mismatch issue there when you're talking about the guards. Arkansas is just too big, too long, too much length on the floor for them. But they're not going to see that very often. They're not going to see the kind of, again, raw talent, right, and the kind of length. They're not going to see that very often in the NCAA tournament. Buzz is a good coach. We'll see how far they go. It kills me to give them any kind of positive feedback. I do not like the Aggies, but the truth is what it is. I mean, they're a good team this year. I'm looking forward to a game with no SEC refs. And that's it too, right? That's a part of it too. Maybe that's why Musselman's teams make it to the Elite Eight. Is Buzz better than Muss at coaching? Musselman, if you want my opinion, no. I think Musselman is a better coach because his resume says so. At least compared to what he's done in his time at A&M versus what Musselman's done at Arkansas. And hell, you could throw Nevada in there too. I just like Buzz a lot. I think it would be easier for Kentucky to grab. Now, listen, I think they really, if anything, I think they really want Musselman. But I think it'd be easier for them to grab Buzz out of A&M than it would be to grab Musselman out of Arkansas. That's why I say that. And I don't want them to get Musselman. I would say Musselman's the better coach, but Buzz has beaten Muss. I know someone's going to come along and say, well, he has Musselman's number, so therefore he's the better coach. I would argue, now we got to look further into the NCAA tournament. Now, this year, that could be their year, but the last 2 years, that's not been the case. Have you seen all the transfers? Yeah, are you talking about Arkansas basketball? Yeah, I guess football, they're at 3 offers that I know of, one of which picked LSU, the kid out of Maryland, talking football. Basketball, I have seen some of the names. Yeah, I have, Tony. It's very clear he wants to address this issue now. And I think I don't know how many freshmen they take in this class. It's not going to be near as many, I bet, compared to this last class. In the words of Otis Kirk, I'll take a 21-year-old over an 18-year-old any day. A Damn Beast Media says, just listening in from Georgia. Good evening, y'all. What's going on, man? We're disappointed. Very disappointed. The good news is it's the SEC tournament. Doesn't mean a damn thing. That's the good news. The good news is I've backed off the ledge as far as getting eliminated in the first round. I want to see who you play first. We'll analyze who they play when the selection committee puts in their votes or whatever. But I don't know, man. This team is just so wildly inconsistent. It's very difficult for me to see them going far. It really is. Sorry, Ty, I'm late. Our Razorbacks isn't chemistry problems. It's overrated talent. Can't shoot or hit free throws. Tennessee gave the blueprint how to beat us. Well, I would argue before Tennessee. I mean, teams have beaten you. I mean, I don't know. You want to call them overrated, you can call them overrated. I just know a lot of people really like these three kids, Ricky Council, Anthony Black, and Nick Smith. I mean, you could call them overrated. And now, listen, that doesn't mean they're going to go to the NBA and be stars. Doesn't mean that at all. But the NBA thinks highly enough of these kids. And, again, they do draft on potential. They do. But they should be a hell of a lot better than what we've seen. And I do agree they have underachieved this year. No doubt. But I don't put that on just the individuals, Charles. I think it's far more complicated than that. I think it's just team chemistry. It really is. I gotta disagree with you. I think it is chemistry issues. I think it's freshman mistakes. You know, when you look at the turnovers, when you look at a guy like Anthony Black who makes a lot of careless turnovers. Now he didn't tonight. I think two, which I would have guessed three or four. But we're splitting hairs at that point. Yeah, many players bust in the NBA all the time. That doesn't mean they're not potentially good players at the college level. Arkansas versus Iowa State, says Kopesky. I haven't looked. Well, I did earlier, and it was – who was it? It was Arkansas and – damn. I don't remember who it was earlier today. I did – my week has been crazy. It's been nuts. If you guys missed it, I talked about it earlier. I actually got hit on the sidelines today. I got hit at practice at Razorback Spring Camp number 2. Didn't go down. Didn't fall on my ass or on my knees. Didn't collapse or anything like that. I held my own, man. I was pretty proud of myself. I saw my life flash before my very eyes as these two Razorbacks are coming at me with helmets and, you know, their garb on. And I thought for sure, I'm going to feel this. I'm all right. Surprisingly, a little sore. I'm all right. I held my own. I don't know who hit me. I had my phone up just to pull my phone up to start recording. And then I looked over my phone. I see these two helmets like 15, 20 feet in front of me just coming full speed. And I got shellacked pretty good, but I held my own. I was quite proud of myself. I'm not going to lie. I didn't tell anybody this. I did fall. I fell going down to the indoor practice facility, the indoor field. There's like a slump there. There's like the grassy knoll slump, and you walk down. Anybody who's been over there by that side of Barnhill Arena and where the indoor pavilion is there, you know what I'm talking about, right? When you drive in, it's on your left, and then you have the concrete sidewalk, and then you go down a set of concrete stairs. Thank God nobody saw me fall. But I fell, and I swear to God, I've been hurting ever. It's been a rough week for your boy. My damn 2-year-old Samsung washer broke down on us today. I think I fixed it, though. Got a flat tire. It's just not my week, man. It's not my week. That's part of why you're getting this reaction. How many fingers am I holding up? Yeah, man, I'm feeling it. I think I still have the scrape. It's both arms, so I kind of brushed it off. Yeah, I can kind of feel it when I rub my elbow a little bit. Hey, man, I was surprised. I was like, beast mode. I didn't fall on my ass and make a complete ass of myself. Oh, man. Can we try to get Vanover back? Yeah. Do you see what's going on where he's at? 5-game win streak without Smith. In your opinion, what happened if Smith never came back? I don't know, man. Fish, I appreciate the $5 super chat. I have no idea. That's another argument for another day. I don't know. It does seem like since Nick has come back that they lost kind of whatever they gained. And then they had this offensive explosion, right? When Nick came back, you saw them on the offensive end of the floor just explode. And we thought, oh, my God, this team, is this what we can expect? Is this going to be a 78 to 84 scoring team every week in SEC play or every game? Now, when he came back, you were on limited time. Remember what I told you guys. I don't remember who was arguing with me. Someone in chat, there were one or two of you who were like, what do you mean he doesn't answer all of our prayers? He doesn't. He doesn't answer all your prayers, and you're seeing that. Now, offensively, I expect a hell of a lot more from this team, and they just haven't really risen to the occasion. These, especially when you look at the Tennessee game. Now, Tennessee, arguably the best. Now, they were one of the best defenses in college basketball. But, I mean, without their guy, you still got completely shut down. I mean, it's just anyone stand out in practice today? Yeah, Centennia. Centennia looked pretty good. I mean, what I got to see, we got 8 periods today, actually. We got 8 periods yesterday. When do we go back? We go back, I think, Tuesday. Now, they're going to practice again on Sunday. I don't think we're going to that. I don't think the media's – I think that's closed off. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything for Sunday, but we're back on Tuesday the 14th at 4 p.m., and then Thursday, March 16th, 4 p.m. But yeah, no, I was impressed with Centennia. You know, I mean, listen, they're still. I'm not going to put any weight in anything that I'm seeing. I'm not because the secondary looked good. You remember that? They looked good last spring. We were all sitting here just going, "Wow, did you see them in the?" Well, I mean, wow, look what so and so's saying, and look what this guy said, and blah blah blah. And then they looked pretty. They looked okay. They were jumping on routes and. You know, we liked what we saw to some extent in the red, white, quote unquote, you know, what they did in spring, you know, what we got to see. They looked pretty good, right? And then they were horrible, right? You remember Sam Pittman even said, I feel like we're too deep at every position in the secondary. You remember when he said that? I do. And that's not on him. I think they just really didn't know what they had until at the end of fall camp when he said, I'm just hoping we can get enough guys out there to play. Big difference between spring camp and fall. So you got to take everything with a grain of salt anyways, but especially during spring camp. Centennia stood out. I have some notes somewhere that I've started, and I was trying to speed type and watch the basketball game at the same time. That's why I was AFK on Discord. You guys, some of you were asking where I was at. I was actually filling out notes from scrimmage today. Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of guys that kind of stood out a little bit. Jacoby Criswell, I don't know. I wasn't really blown away by some of his passes, but again, they're trying to figure this thing out. I really think what we've seen these last 2 practices, give it until the end of spring camp. We'll see where they're at, right? We'll readjust and remeasure, right, at the end of spring camp, just kind of see where they've progressed. Some have more to work on than others, I think. Ty Washington ran with the ones, and you got to use the ones in air quotes because we did see some mixing up yesterday. But Ty Washington, I don't know. We talked about it last fall camp. That dude looked pretty good. At least we have gymnastics to look forward to. Are you being mean to the gymnastics? Come on now. The secondary didn't really get tested even with Landers and Jaden like the year before when Burks was playing. This is JD. Well, I don't know. I just remember there was a lot of hype behind the secondary coming out of the spring. I think a lot of people thought that – I shouldn't say hype, but I think a lot of people thought the secondary was going to be a hell of a lot better than what we got in the fall. Pittman said he thinks Criswell is more of a gamer, so maybe we'll see. I hope not, though, because that means KJ gets hurt, LOL. Come on, football. I'm in March Madness as long as we are. Yeah. Disappointing. Not surprised. Frustrated. I'm so frustrated. I'm so sick and tired of watching this team lose games in the second half. You know, I'm tired of watching them not be able to put complete games. And hell, I don't care if you play a complete game as long as you can find a way to win. At the end of the day, what matters is winning in the final minutes, and they just can't do it. I shouldn't say can't. They're not consistently doing it. I remember you're right. Wait, I'm right about what? What am I right about? JT Hazelwood with the $5 super chat. You may have meant to comment there. If not, I appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. Oh no, you deleted your comment, or you're trying to delete your super chat, aren't you? All right, we're at 50 minutes. Don't forget Sunday. It's going down now that Arkansas's done. Now that they can get ready for the real tournament, for the tournament that actually matters. Don't forget Sunday. We got a big one. Sunday at noon for Patreon supporters. If you're not a Patreon supporter, join up. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. Did they mainly do 3 or 4 wideouts? Well, a lot of tight ends lining up. You know, it looks to me like they're going to be blocking a lot. I mean, again, it's just is what it is, right? We're not seeing anything. We don't know what they're going to run. A lot of pistol. A lot of running backs lining up behind the running back, or a lot of running backs lining up behind the quarterback. I think I saw mostly 2 receiver sets, but that could change. There might have been a – now, I did go down. I actually watched the defensive line a little bit today. I watched the linebackers for a little bit. So I did miss some of what was going on, but, yeah, right about having 2 at each position. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's what Sam said. Those are his words. He said he felt good about being 2 deep at every position. In the secondary, he said that. Terser with a $5 super chat. What would it hurt to play Graham? What are we going to do? Lose like we seem to do anyways? Yeah, I don't know. You'd figure they would dig deeper into their bag of tricks at this point. I mean, this was really, I'm sure Muscle in the back of his mind, whatever. Let's just get to the tournament that matters. Let's not show our hand too much. Maybe that's some of what was going on. Maybe they're going to try something different in the tournament. I think they're going to need to. I really do. I think someone else is going to have to come into that rotation. Someone else is going to have to get more quality minutes. But I'm telling you, man, what we've seen in the second half lately, it's just not working. Muss hates Graham for some reason. Do you think the aggressiveness is minimum since Muss benches players when they get a certain amount of fouls? Well, I think what curbs their aggressiveness is the officials. I think officials curb their aggressiveness. We've heard them talk about this before. I think it was Nick Smith that mentioned this a week or so ago in a postgame, or because they got into foul trouble. Now, the first half, I thought this game was really well called. I mean, it was really well called. Second half, it was it got a little crazy. Lot of I thought there were several tacky calls. A&M got away with a couple of travels. You know, and listen, they're going to get away. Every once in a while, that's going to happen. But I think when they get into foul trouble, whether it's officials or not, sometimes it's not. It's just guys not playing smart defense or drawing charges or whatever, or you know, getting an offensive foul. All of a sudden they have to play differently defensively. We know that this is a in-your-face kind of defense. We know they like to play aggressive. They kept talking about A&M playing aggressive. Are you kidding? Arkansas's reputation for the last 3-4 years has been aggressive defense, great perimeter defense. They may give points up in the paint, and they do, but they can be very aggressive in the paint. They can be aggressive out on the perimeter. Kind of surprised they don't get hit with more perimeter fouls. Surprised they don't get hit with more of them. And I think at times they kind of get away with stuff, and that's fine because on the other end of the floor, that team's getting away with stuff too, and that's okay. If they're going to call it evenly, then call it evenly. But I think the officiating can curb how they play defensively because you start racking up fouls. All of a sudden, guys start reacting differently. You know, less likely to maybe try and defend a dunk or you know, be too aggressive on a particular play or whatever. You know, and it can have an impact on how you play defense. And yeah, you're supposed when you get 2 fouls, especially in the first 8 minutes of the first half, you're going to hit the bench. You're going to ride the pine. That's just how it is. You're going to ride the bench. You know, that's typical anywhere, not just here. 2 fouls in the first half at all, you're going to hit the bench. You're going to ride the pine for a little bit. Council and Devo have to score more than 9 points, and AB was not aggressive at all when Taylor had 2 fouls. What good is a defensive team in a 15-0 run? At least put in scores and traps. And I've talked about that before. It seems like when they trap up around the top end or around the arch of the perimeter, the top of the perimeter, or at the half court, when they actually try to trap a little more, they create confusion. I don't know, and they can create turnovers and get points off those. I don't know why we don't see more of that. I don't know why we're not seeing more trapping, a little bit more full court press. I'd like to see them press a little more. You remember early on in the year, we're starting to see it a little bit. We're starting to see them full court press a little bit. And we kind of thought, well, maybe they'll adopt this as their identity, and they're going to be more aggressive at half court. We're going to see more traps. We're going to see more full court press. I'm not saying 40 minutes of hell. I'm not saying, that what we thought we were going to get out of Mike Anderson. But it seems like when Arkansas switches things up defensively and how they attack, it seems to equate to points. Turning defense into offense, getting points off turnovers, getting scoring off of loose balls that were created because of the press or because of an up top trap. I don't know why we're not seeing that more. We know they're an aggressive cutting team when they have the ball on the offensive end of the floor. And they try to adjust when that's not there, right? They try to get better post play, or maybe Devo can hit an open 3, or Nick Smith. I don't understand on the defensive end of things why they don't trap more and play at that level. Now I get too, like they get into foul trouble and it prevents them. I get it. You can get into foul trouble if you trap a lot, especially with teams that have guys like Devo who can get Devo, AB, and Walsh are the guys that they're just as likely to create a turnover as they are to draw a foul, especially Walsh and AB. And all of a sudden, they're going to have to ride the pine because they've got 2 fouls in the first 8-9 minutes of the first half. That's typically Walsh if he plays. I don't know. I'm not that's up to Muss. Muss knows far more than all of us combined about his team in the game of basketball. But I do see at times, like, man, why not press a little more? Why not put that more into your plan? Why not do that more often? Maybe come out in the second half and that's what your adjustment is. And I'm not saying they never do it. They do it. And we see them do it more times than we probably believe they do. But it just seems like it's not as consistent. But when they are doing it, it feels like those are turning into points. It's at least creating loose balls or, eating up more clock. Now, the problem you have is, and this happened in the first half, when you do trap, you're going to give up someone either open down low around the iron, or you're going to give up a wide open 3. We've seen that happen, but that's part of the danger, right, of doing stuff like that, playing that level of aggressiveness. JT Hazelwood says freshmen don't have the impact they used to. Starting to see that impact of COVID/transfers, team not being good, AB and Nick Smith Jr. being NBA talent, both true. Yeah. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate that. Last year's second half adjustments were amazing. This year, not so much. And it could just be he doesn't feel like he has the personnel to make those kind of adjustments. I mean, it is clear, and I think he understands this, that the SEC, the guys that officiate these games are going to call a game a certain way. And so maybe that's why he isn't as aggressive. And if that's his point, and if that's what he wants to say, I'm not going to argue with him at all. I wouldn't argue with him anyways, but that might be a part of why we're not seeing them play as aggressive. But, man, it sure seems like they can turn those into points. It feels like they can get buckets, easy shots, loose balls, create some confusion at the very least. If you're not creating turnovers and you're creating maybe a wasted possession for the opposing offense. Sorry, never super chat. Had to get my word. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Should have started Kamani and set the tone. I mean, they got off to a pretty good start. I don't think there's any doubt. They got off to a pretty good start. Weird that Smith doesn't hit his free throws. I tell you, I mean, think about it. If you shoot, let's say you shoot 72% tonight, you're at least at a closer game, and it creates a different conversation in the final few possessions, in the final 2 possessions. If you're shooting 70 to 72%. This is a different conversation. Maybe we're talking about a 1-point loss, or maybe we're talking about a 1-point win. I'm telling you, man, when you look at tournament teams, when you look at the stat sheet, there's certain things that stand out, right? Turnovers, offensive rebounds, total rebounds. You can get into the plus minus conversation, bench production. You kind of look at, and it's not just 2 or 3 or 4 stats. It's kind of like basketball in some ways, where you look at all these numbers, right? You look at all sorts of things. You look at batting averages, on base percentage. You're going to look at the ERA, strikes thrown, all that stuff. Basketball in some ways all sports are, surrounded by math, but there are certain things that you look at. And like last night, 19 turnovers, but then you shot 73% at the free throw line. And they found a way. And then sometimes it's just what you do in the minutes that matter. And Arkansas, in the minutes that mattered last night, Nick Smith Jr. came through with a nice little, beautiful 2-point shot there, a mid-range shot that went in on the part of the floor where it's not so easy when you're talking about where he shot that point. It wasn't directly in front of the bucket; it was on the side. And that can sometimes, it's not quite a corner pocket 3, but it's still not the highest percentage shot, and he made it. It was a clutch moment. Right? Those moments matter, and that's what makes him. That's why you look at him and you go, damn, that guy, does he got the clutch gene? He certainly showed it last night. But then there's other things that you look at too, like, again, free throw shooting. You don't have to be an elite 3-point shooting team to advance in this tournament. You look at perimeter defense. Arkansas does have that. The perimeter defense is there, but what they don't have, and the thing that matters the most, you can go up and down all these numbers. Again, you could talk about the turnover or the assist to turnover ratio. You could talk about bench production. You could talk about all the different things. What you end up highlighting with Arkansas, inconsistent in almost every category for this team. In almost every single category, inconsistent. And mostly they've been consistent at being not a good free throw shooting team, but we have seen them shoot 73, 74. I think at one point this year they shot like 79, 80%. I think, was that Mizzou? Someone. And then the next 4 games, they shot sub 70% or whatever it was. And that was on the road, right? If I remember that correctly, I might be remembering that wrong. But then the next few games you had at home, you still shot poorly. Of those few games, I think you had a couple at home, and you still shot poorly at the free throw line. You're not a 35% 3-point shooting team. Even with Nick Smith back, that number has curtailed a little bit, and you're taking more attempts outside. And they're probably at their best about a 33, 35%, maybe. But even that number is inconsistent. They're 25% tonight, 40% tonight from the floor. It's all these things. It's just we could talk about all the numbers that we want, but at the end of the day, it's inconsistency that absolutely kills this team. Not adjusting to what the other team does in the second half. Not figuring out ways to we could talk about how horrible they are as just a shooting team. If you force Arkansas to shoot, you could win the game. Fayetteville High School. If Fayetteville High School could do that, I think they win the game. I mean, it's just incredible. Especially when you look at guys like Ricky Council, Nick Smith, right? We've seen Devo turn it on this year from a deep shot when you look at his 3-ball this year. So good. Like, where's that been all of his career? Where's that been the last couple of years? And look at him. He finds it. Didn't have it all tonight. Again, he was 1 of 5. But he has found himself. So, again, inconsistency killed this team. I think I've said all I've wanted to say. It's frustrating. At the end of the day, this tournament doesn't matter. It really doesn't. You might lose a couple spots in seeding. I don't know in projected seeding, but your boy's gonna put some ice. He's gonna ice it. He's gonna get a cold frozen steak and slap it on his boo-boos. He'll be all right. We're gonna be back at this thing Sunday for Patreon supporters. I don't know, man. I might not even watch basketball tomorrow. I kind of don't want to watch basketball tomorrow. I just want to take a day off. No, we're busy tomorrow. We got plans tomorrow. But, this is a tough one. I just don't like losing to A&M. I don't like the way they've lost some of these games. I hope these kids just quit so we can focus on next year. I think we announce. See, I think they announced team. I think the announced team even said that a Buzz knew what Muss was gonna run the crucial play at the end. Yeah, I Twinkle. Why not? Are you? What do you mean? Just quit? No. He deleted message was much worse than that. You fine blowing double-digit lead? Bro, come on. That's ridiculous. You knew your comment was ridiculous because you deleted it, my guy. I mean, come on. Yeah, they blew a double-digit lead. They had 15-point lead last night. They had a 13-point lead. You must have come in late. But, I mean, come on. Oh, no, you kept that comment. What other comment did you delete? So you deleted like 2 comments. You're deleting so many comments, I can't keep up. Seems like only thing this team has been consistent at this season is being inconsistent. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think maybe again. I think you came in late. We've talked about them blowing leads. I mean, we've talked about that a lot. You don't just quit. That to me is like when you're bowling and you're not having a good time bowling and you're getting your ass kicked and you just throw the ball down the gutter. Like, come on, man. At least finish the frame. Come on. I'm taking nothing back. Oh, man. All right. Remember when Walsh hit the buzzer 3? Me neither. Yeah, right? They were rolling in that first half, man. I thought, wow. But I also said, hold on. Let's see what happens in the second half. Yeah. All right. That's going to call it. That's going to do it. I do appreciate you guys. I think we're all just disappointed. I do not like losing to A&M. I do not like losing to A&M, and I don't like losing to them in this damn tournament, but it is what it is. We'll see what Arkansas can do. Up next, we'll find out where they're at seeding-wise, and we'll get through we'll approach whatever game they have up next, whoever their round 1 opponent is, and go from there. We'll see who it is. We'll see where they're at in seeding. Not the kind of season the SEC that you wanted. Either the net ranking is right and the SEC was just dominant this year. Joe Lunardi seems to think thinks the SEC is pretty good, not just because of net rankings, but I mean, well, maybe it is mostly because of net rankings. I mean, I'm sure. But yeah. By the way, if you guys are still curious about what happened today at camp, yeah, there's all kinds of write-ups and there's other videos out there, but I got some pretty cool footage of Tesla, the transfer wide receiver. It's up on the shorts, so if you want to look at the short, it is available. I'll talk more about what I saw on Monday. We'll talk more about that. I'll have plenty to say. I'll talk more about the 1s and 2s. I still got to go back. I took a lot of footage these last 2 practices, so I need to go back and relook and kind of go from there. But, yeah, I appreciate you guys. Look, I know a lot of people kind of let go of the rope. I got to say, it is a weird feeling. I feel like most fans are just not that excited about March Madness, and that sucks. It sucks. I mean, you could see it in the numbers. You could see it on Twitter and Facebook, and I get that doesn't represent the whole fan base. I get that, but I don't know, man. There's just you don't have that same feeling going into the NCAA tournament. Now, that doesn't mean that Arkansas is going to be bad. I mean, they must seems to think that this is a tournament team. They didn't go one and done in the SEC tournament, but I think they beat a pretty overrated Auburn team. I thought Arkansas matched up against A&M better than they did Auburn coming into this game. All year I felt that way. I felt like they should match up against A&M a lot better. But A&M got the better of Arkansas this year. We'll see who goes further in the tournament. Wouldn't shock me either way. Again, I like Buzz. I think Buzz is a top 4 coach in this conference. So, all right. I will see you guys. Patreon supporters, I'll see you at noon. That will be at noon. I know the SEC championship game will be going, but if you guys want to see it, look, that video, you don't have to be there live. It'll be posted on Patreon Probably, I don't know if I'll ever make it public or not. That may be a video I keep on Patreon. I don't know yet. Maybe eventually it'll go public. I don't know, but it'll be a fascinating conversation regardless. That's going to be at noon on Sunday. So, and then later that day we'll figure out where Arkansas is going in this tournament. Okay, that's it. Disappointing loss. It is what it is. I don't know. Go grab you a cigar and a glass of whiskey, and then go to bed. I feel like that's going to be my evening. Maybe not. I don't know. Woo Pig, I'll see you guys, Patreon supporters, on Sunday. The rest of you, I'll see you on Monday. Go Hogs.
At Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Central Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 501-244-3667, or visit our website at directserviceoverhead.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.